Hey everybody, happy Monday, May 24th. How are you? The sun was out, but it's a little dark now. I'm trying to make sure I've got everything. My phone's kind of over here, my camera. Kind of worked with it this morning to see if I could get a better, um, kind of get it out of the way. So I'm trying a different setup today. Hi Donna, how are you? Um, my allergies are killing me. How about y'all? There's something in the air. My eyes have been itchy and my nose has been running. I have a couple of announcements today. Well, first I wanted to share a few little cards. If you're here, make sure you say hello. I love to chat with you guys when I'm on. I hate to feel like I'm all alone. Cottonwood floating in the air. You think that's my allergies? I don't know. Something. It is, oops, there we go. There we go. It's just been kind of miserable. Hi, Joy. Hi, Loopy. We're talking allergies. Mine are terrible right now. I have one last swig of coffee. This is my last cup of the day, and then I'm cutting myself off. I wanted to share some cards that we made this weekend. I went to a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator virtual meeting, and we featured the Pansy, I think it's called Pansy Petals. The gals who organized it. Pansy Patch, maybe what the suite is called. Yeah. So we used everything from this suite, the paper, the stamps, the dies, and I wasn't really probably going to invest in this, but you know, once you start working with something, you think you might need it. I just thought these 2-step dies and 3-step dies were so fun. This was my favorite card that we made, I think. You know how I like lots of layers. Hi, Vicki. Loopy says she got that one and she's so excited to get started on it. I really had a good time. Now, this is just from the designer series paper that the dies cut out the flower and then popped it up. And then this last one, I think we used 3 different colors on that flower. We used Calypso Coral, the New Pale Papaya, and So Saffron. I think the So Saffron's right here in the middle. So the different colors really give the flowers a lot of dimension. So I just wanted to share those because I did not get this suite, and I'm probably going to talk myself into getting it because I just loved working with it so much. We're going to use the paper today, however. So I'll show you that here in a little minute, but I wanted to talk about you can join Stampin' Up! Through the month of May and get for $99, $155 worth of product. That's usually you get $125 worth of product. So you get an extra $25 worth of product if you join in May. And I haven't really been talking a whole lot about that. And our month is running out. So if you have ever thought about joining Stampin' Up! Or getting your products at a discount, think about doing it in the month of May, and I would love to talk to you about it. Or you can just go to leslie.stampinup.net and click on the Join Now button. Stampin' Up! Is also giving us a freebie. I meant to print this out before we got started this afternoon, but I didn't get around to it. If you'll go to leslie.stampinup.net, right there, there'll be a link and it'll talk about this United Through Creativity, and there will be a digital download. And I think there were 14 pages of images and sentiments. Now, the sentiments include all of the markets that Stampin' Up! covers, so there will be some foreign languages there that you may not want to be, you may not be interested in or want to use, but you can, print them out on cardstock and then punch them or die cut them or cut them out for the sentiments, color them any which way you want to do it. And they are just, Stampin' Up! Is just celebrating what makes us all unique and what brings us all together, and that's creativity. So it doesn't matter where we live in the world, we all like to create. So you can go there, get the free download, print it out, and use it however you want. Okay, and if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them too. If you have trouble downloading or something like that, let me know. Hi, Kat. Vicky says she just ordered the stamp set. The dies look like a lot of work to me. We only used, we used a flower die this weekend and the leaf dies. You can tell the little veins on top of the leaves. I didn't have a lot of trouble, but when you do order something with a lot of little pieces, yeah, it's more creativity, it is more time consuming. A lot of times when I have a set like that, I will just cut out a whole bunch at one time and then put my cards together later, so I'm not going back and forth and back and forth. Okay, today we are going to make this fun little shadow box card that has that little butterfly in there. She's just floating around in there. I'm going to show you how to do that. I was a little intimidated, but it was a pretty easy card to make. It's just got a few different folds that you've got to get right, and you've got to cut out a window in the front of your card. So you can use a die. I used the, if my brain could just remember everything, I used the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I used the largest rectangle for my card front, and then I kind of backed it up with the second largest rectangle die behind it. Kind of framed that window out. I'm going to show you how to do this. I also used the Brilliant Butterfly Brilliance bundle. I used the stamps and the dies. So I used these three smallest butterfly images, and then I used the three smallest, I always want to call these filigree. I don't know if that's what you would call them or not. Hi, Mom. Hi, Carol. But I've just been enjoying this, and it's a nice background stamp. So I would recommend using your stamp positioner, your Stamparatus to do this, and you can cut them all out in one swoop. I did a lot of this work ahead, so you wouldn't have to be watching me cut everything out. And I'm going to send out this step-by-step PDF tomorrow in tomorrow's email. So if you are on my email list, you will get the PDF of this. If you'd like to receive this, go ahead today, because this is going to go out tomorrow. Go ahead today, and if you go to theplaidpoodle.com, you can sign up. There's a little thing, and I'm interested in paper crafting ideas, and you can sign up there, and tomorrow you'll get that PDF. Kat says, what do you have your samples of your dies on? Kat, I just kind of glue them on a piece of basic black cardstock. It kind of helps me when I'm designing to see all the different things, and it also helps me to show my friends, you guys, what a stamp set, all it can do. So I just glue them on a piece of cardstock. Vicky says, love the butterfly set. You can make some really stunning cards with it rather easily. Yes, I agree. So this is the card we're going to make. I don't know if it's stunning, but it was fun to make. And I thought it was going to be hard. I was a little intimidated, but it wasn't that hard. And I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to start with a piece of designer series paper, 5 1/4 by 4, and a piece of, this is the new soft succulent cardstock, the new in color, and it is also 5 1/4 by 4. That's going to be our frame and then our background. And then you're going to need 2 pieces for your card base, 6 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm using, I always forget what color this is, soft seafoam and the soft succulent for the back. So my soft seafoam is going to go on the front because I didn't want to distract from my butterflies. So that is what you're going to need to start. And we are going to score both sides of these on the 6 1/4 inch side. So make sure you're doing it on the 6 1/4 inch side. We're going to score them at 1/2 inch. And 1 inch. And then I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. I'm using the scoring blade on my paper trimmer. 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Okay, and then I'm going to do, before I do that on my soft seafoam, I ran it through the brick and mortar 3D embossing folder. So I tried making one without texture, and I just preferred to have a little texture on that soft seafoam. So I ran my lighter piece through the brick and mortar, and then I cut this center panel. I used that large, what did I do with that? Here we go. I used the large stitched rectangle from the Stitch So Sweetly dies, the largest one, and centered it on there and cut it out. Now, you don't have to use a rectangle. I think a heart would be pretty, a circle would be pretty, any shape, you know, that you want. And I just used these because I wanted to really show off that paper in the background and have enough room for my butterfly. So that's why I used the big rectangles. So I've already done that. I've done my 1/2 inch and my 1 inch, my 1/2 inch and my 1 inch. And then you're going to fold this one and you're going to make like an accordion fold on those score lines. This is our front. And then the back, you're going to do it opposite. So this one's going to kind of fold down. And this one's going to fold up. And like I said, I took pictures and everything on this. So if you are on my mailing list, all of this information is going to be on the PDF. So make sure if you're not on my mailing list, you go over there and sign up for that. So can you see how that's going to go together? And you'd be left with about 1 inch to play with. Okay. I'm going to take the designer series paper and my Stampin' Seal. And put it right on that center panel. That's going to kind of be the background of our card. And then on the front, I'm going to take that other piece. We had this little piece of 5 1/4 by 4, and I used that second largest die, and I'm going to glue the front right onto that just to kind of create a little bit of a frame. And it's also going to add a little stability to my card front. Makes it just a little stiffer. Hi, Chris Butler. Oh, crud balls, y'all. Look what I did. I knew I was doing something backwards. No worries. I am going to do it this way. I'm going to put the glue on here. We'll be okay. So center that on there. Don't make that mistake that I did. Put your glue on the card front and not on your second layer here. I'm going to make sure I get most of this off of here. Okay, we're not going to put it together just quite yet, so maybe that'll have time to dry. Okay, now we're going to take the back that we put our designer series paper on, and I've got a piece of 1/2 inch. I think this is about 4 inches. What's 3.5 inches? It's window sheet. You could use a piece of cardstock if you wanted, a piece of maybe thick basic white cardstock. But with the window sheet, you won't be able to see as much, and it looks like our butterflies floating, flying around our garden. I'm gonna take my bone folder. Okay, I went ahead and stamped everything. Where's my stamp set? Like I said, I used the 3 smallest images. And what I do is I put it in my Stamparatus, and then I just ink up the ones I want. Otherwise, you can ink up the whole thing and cut it out all at once, because this is one piece, so it's kind of nice. You can make all those butterflies in one piece. But I just used some scraps and kind of piecemealed it together. So I made one with the new polished pink, one with the new fresh freesia, and then this one is with the bumblebee. And I pulled all those colors out of the paper, designer series paper. And then I cut the corresponding, I call them filigree. I don't know if it's called an outline die or what, but I cut the corresponding filigree and just glued those little suckers right down the middle and bended the wings up just to make it look a little dimensional. So there's the bumblebee. This is the fresh freesia. And then for my bigger butterfly that's going to be floating in the middle, I took a piece of vellum and I just colored it with a Stampin' Blend. This is Flirty Flamingo. If I would have had the polished pink, I would have used it, but it's a close enough match. I just thought the lighter vellum would be easier to, wouldn't weigh it down as much and would make it look a little bit more light and airy. So I've got all 3 of those put together, and I'll show you how I did the sentiment here in a sec. Then I'm going to take my biggest butterfly and I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal Plus. You want to use a pretty strong adhesive. You could use some Stampin' Seal Plus or some tear and tape, something that's going to be pretty strong. And then you're going to, this was the hardest part of the whole card, because when it's folded up, the little butterfly, like if you're going to mail it, the little butterfly isn't going to be centered, so it looks weird. So it's hard to put that on there. You have to determine when it's open where that butterfly is going to be in the center. So I kind of messed around with it. Like I'm going to have it open. I didn't burnish these edges as much. There we go. And I took my little butterfly that's on the window sheet. If you have any of that like takeout packaging or you know, a sturdy clear plastic, you might save some of that back. It works good too as a window sheet or for this purpose. So I'm trying to kind of figure out where I need to place my adhesive, and I think right there. So I am going to take some of that Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm probably going to have to redo this here in a sec. I think it was right about there. Maybe just a little bit over. I'm persnickety about stuff like this. And I think once we get it glued together, that's going to be good. Okay, now I'm going to glue the front to the back, and you can use some of your Stampin' Seal Plus, your tear and tape. I'm going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue. Once it's dry, it will be real sturdy because it'll give me just a little bit of wiggle room while I'm gluing these tabs together. So I'm just gluing these outside tabs together. And we're going to trim off that window sheet in just a sec. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I also forgot to mention at the beginning, I failed to get out the April Hostess Code gifts. And it is on my to-do list, and I plan on getting that done this week. So I apologize that those are late getting out. I don't know what happened. So there, it can fold up flat and you can mail it. I'd probably add a little extra postage. And then when it's open, your little butterfly is going to be kind of floating right there in the middle. Now, if you didn't want to mess around with the window sheet, you could use some Stampin' Dimensionals and stack several, you know, one on top of the other to get it right there in the middle. You know, whatever is easier for you. Now we're just going to decorate it up a little bit. For the sentiment, I use, this is one of my new favorites, is the Mini Messages stamp set and die combo. And in one stamp, you can stamp all of these sentiments, and in one cut, you can cut all of these sentiments. I'll show you what I have. Let me show you the die first. Here's what it looks like when you stamp the stamp down. I use my Stamparatus, and you get them all on one sheet like this, and then it fits right over, well, you can't see with the magnet. Then the die fits right over all the sentiments, and you cut them all out in one swoop. It's really quite clever. And there's another one in the annual catalog. This is from the Spring Mini, and it is carrying over, but there's another one that's just like this. Donna says a strip of page protector might work too. Yes, just something stiff. Here's all those sentiments. I just save them in a little baggie, and then when I'm making cards, I can grab one and use it. But the one we're using today, And I stamped these in the new evergreen color, evening evergreen. I liked it because it was skinny and it was long. And I can put it right here. My butterfly is a little bit lower than my sample, so I'm going to put my little sentiment up here on this one. It's hard to get centered when I can't get my head right over it. This is hoping your day is full of love and laughter and joy. So this would work for anybody, any occasion, just because. Okay, now we've got our two other little butterflies, and I am going to, I think I'm going to put my bigger one down at the bottom now since I've got my sentiment at the top. Be sure I got it straight. Oops. And I'm just going to put this little fella or lady on the corner here. And then I'll put, I think I'll put this one right here. I'm kind of liking this better. They're all kind of swarming together. Isn't that cute? Kind of like that better than this one. And then I'm going to take a bow of gingham, the gingham trim. It's the Bumblebee gingham trim, 3/8 inches, and I've already cut that or made the bow. Not sure. I think I'll put the bow up top right here. And a little mini glue dot. Go put it right there. Oops. I want to cover up my sentiment, so I might trim that a little bit. That's cute. I kind of like how I did this one better. Now, the last thing I did was I put the little in color jewels. These are the new 2021-2022 in color jewels. And I put one of them right in the middle of each butterfly. So I'm going to put the pale papaya right here on the bumblebee one, and I'm going to put a larger one here in the middle because this little gal is a little bigger. And then I'm going to put the fresh freesia, I think a little one on that guy. There we go. That's the card. So think about some stamp sets that you have. This card is so much easier than it looked like it was going to be. So cute. Thank you, Kat. It is easy. Just need a couple of little folds and you've got it. But think of some stamp sets that you have that would be really adorable in there, with maybe some little creatures peeking out. You could put some on there with some dimensionals. Just the world's your oyster. I just did this one with the butterflies because I just had the idea that I'd like to have a butterfly floating. So I'm going to try and do this. Sometimes it's hard. There you go. It looks a little better that way. Can you see how the butterfly is centered in there and she's just kind of floating around? And then when you want to mail it, you tuck these little edges in and it goes flat. And so then when the recipient gets it, they can just pull it out like that and it will sit on a desktop. So I thought it was a fun little card. Thank you guys for joining me. I think I gave you all the announcements, and I will be back Wednesday at 2 p.m. I'm thinking of my calendar at 2 p.m. for coffee and a card, and we'll talk to you then. Thanks for stopping by. Love you guys. Bye-bye.